Cavalry battle. This is something.
Cheering squad. It is dudes.
Stab with stick festival. And then there's a fellow sitting at the top of this pole. You're going to make so much noise. It sounds rad. I want to get involved with one of these sports festivals.
I don't think we're allowed in. Hey, podcast kittens. It's Cathy Cat and
Ladybeard coming at you with another Starship Singing edition of
Cat with Beard.
How are you, my dear?
Very good. How was your tour?
Excellent. Thank you. Just got back from the Aussie tour.
Also tour. Aussie.
Hi.
There was a lot of that in that tour. Lots of cool pictures, lots of videos. You can still check it out on Instagrams.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone who came and saw us on tour. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you, High Entertainment, for bringing us to Australia. It was wonderful. Thank you, everyone. It's a good time. Had our first ever Wall of Death in Sydney. It was very exciting.
Yeah. I saw the video of that. I did not know that was a thing. People know. You metal people know. If you've ever been in a Wall of Death, please let us know.
We had 2 Walls of Death and 2 Shoeys.
What's a shoe?
A shoey is an Australian tradition where you drink from a shoe. So we were on stage and the crowd called for a shoey. Because here's what happened. Whilst wrestling, someone gave me their shoe in an attempt to help me. So then their shoe was on the stage. They asked for their shoe back. So I had their shoe, and then everyone started calling for a shoey because this is an Australian thing that would happen. So I had to do a shoey.
Everyone goes shoey.
Yeah.
You have to drink from a shoe.
You have to drink from a shoe.
What do you have to drink from a shoe?
Well, in a party situation, it would be a little bit of the old,
it would be
tutti frutti, happy times.
I mean, I would have that so alcohol-elated. To kill off all the bacteria in there.
In a party, not only that, but of course I was halfway through my show, so for me it was a bottle of water. Because here's the thing, Shoey gave me a bottle of water to drink anyway, so I've got a water and a shoe in my hand. So it's an obvious conclusion for Australians to call for a shoey. So that was my first shoey. I've done it in about 30 years. So it was hilarious.
So you drank some mineral water from a shoe?
Yeah, from a stranger's shoe.
What did that taste like?
Tell you what, the first shoe was a very fragrant shoe.
You drank from 2 shoes?
Well, yeah, because then on the night after that, there was another call for a shoey. So
okay, the first shoe.
The first shoe was clearly a new shoe.
Oh, good.
It smelled like it was straight from the factory.
Good.
Yep. Hazza, I believe, was the name of the gentleman wearing it. Harry, good to see you, bros. Thanks for coming. All right.
New shoe. Thanks for putting a new shoe on stage.
Thanks for having a new shoe on. Thanks, homie. And then in Brisbane, it was a light up, colourful shoe. It had little flashing lights around.
Wouldn't that break the little circuits in it?
I thought I might get electrocuted if I put the water in the shoe, but things turned out to be fine. I did a shoey from the light shoe as well. It was like a Christmas light display shoe. It was fantastic. It was a good time for everyone. Everyone had joy. And this as an Australian tradition, so being the non-Australian that you are, next time you're in Australia, everyone make sure you call for a shoey for Cathy Cat so she can enjoy the magnificent traditions of our culture. No. Mari and Susan both said if they are forced to do shoeys, they're quitting the group.
I am not surprised. Unless it's a brand new shoe from the factory, I think I will struggle drinking from a stranger's shoe.
Listen, we've all got our thing. You Germans put on your lederhosen and play your wah, 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 wah. We've all got our things. We drink from shoes.
Yeah, we have big jugs of beer. Those beer jugs. That's where you drink stuff from.
Yeah, well, we have the same thing, except we pour that beer from the jug into the shoe, and then we consume it from the shoe.
But then the owner of the shoe has a wet shoe with alcohol residue if you are going to a party, or water in your situation. Water is not so bad, but what if you have something sticky in it, like a cola, like a vodka and Coke, then your shoe is going to be sticky forever.
Yeah, that's part of the fun. Now you got a shoey shoe.
I need to understand Australia. Australia.
That's how you do things. I love Australia.
All right. It sounds like a good time. We are talking about festivals today.
Yeah,
this is actually working, but talking about Japanese school festivals. Looks like, you Australians have your ways to party and in Japan, there's different ways to party as well. In schools, once a year when there's their sport festival. Used to be around October time, but now they moved it because it's getting too hot for the most sport festival times. So it's kind of fluctuating now. Every school has their sport festival now around a different time.
did do an excellent job with that tangent, taking it from partying with a shoe to a school sports festival. That was very smooth.
Yeah, talking about sweaty shoes, there are some sweaty shoes at sport festivals.
So the kids, all the kids in school have to participate in sports festivals.
Everyone has to participate. You usually don't get a way out of that because you also start planning and practicing it for like 1.5, 2 months in advance.
But it is nothing like, school sports carnival that we have in the Western world, is it?
No, it's also different from a school festival that you will probably know if you've seen any Japanese dramas or anime before. Those are different. There's a school festival and then there's a sports festival. School festival, usually everyone has access to, or like a lot of people have access to. Other schools can come and participate. Sports festival tends to be just the students and then their parents, maybe, if they're allowed to come. They start from a smaller age, from elementary school with like cute things like hop and try and catch a donut. And then if you go to high school, there's some really interesting traditions that we're going to talk about today. Some you might have seen in an anime and maybe not understood, and some you might not know about and will be very surprised.
Really? Well, let's dive on in.
Yes.
First things first, you got to stick on your headband so that you fit in with your correct team at school.
Yes, team colors are generally in the traditional colors of the Japanese flag, which is
red and white.
Exactly. So a lot of usually white t-shirts, and then you have a little, like a headband in different colors.
Headband. Yeah.
Red or white, or if you have other team colors, yellow, blue.
I was going to say, if your only options are red and white, then you can only have 2 teams and you have to be a fairly small school.
Yeah.
So apparently you can have other colors as well. Throw in the other colors if you've got a lot of students. And most schools do have more students than a handful. So
it really depends on which area you lived in. I guess also more on the countryside. I assume the teams are slightly smaller. But girls have now also ways on YouTube how to style their headpiece cutely, tie it into a ribbon, maybe even tie it so it looks like little cat ears. So now I just want to put that in your heads. Cute white t-shirt, red headband. You're ready to go, right? You're ready to participate.
Yeah, these images we have here, these young ladies look wonderful in their red headbands. What's it called? It's called a hachimaki.
Hachimaki. You probably have heard the hachimaki before. It's like you sometimes also, I think it's the same name in martial arts as well. Is that correct?
Oh,
hachimaki? Yes.
For a headband?
Yeah. Hachimaki. So you will probably have had a hachimaki in your career.
We didn't have to wear headbands when I was training.
Oh, fair enough.
We only had our belts.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone who wanted to see me on hachimaki.
Oh,
no
too
hachimaki
bad.
for me.
Well, so all the students are now lined up. All those high school students are ready to go. They have their color on. They're prepared. Their parents have little sheets, maybe under some sort of tarpaulin, or on some sort of tarpaulin.
Sheets?
On a little piece of like a picnic sheet. The parents will generally sit. They might even have prepared the lunch.
Excellent.
But they will definitely have prepared all the camera equipment because they are ready for it. This is the moment they've been waiting for. Their kids finally performing in a sport performance. The dads and the moms will bring out all the video cameras and all the photo equipment because they're ready for it. That's if they could take the time off. I mean,
they're proud of their children doing physical exercise.
Yeah, I guess a sports event is like because they remember it from their time because they had that too, right? Now, let's go to the weird, funny, and dangerous things that will happen at Japanese sport festivals.
Bro, so hang on. So can I ask first, before we continue, at sports festival, do you have all the same events that we have, like the 100-meter dash and hurdles and discus or whatever, or is it only these interesting things that are listed here?
We have that kind of the games as well, but it's not competition anymore. Like 100-meter dash and like hurdles and things. We just run. And good job, otsukaresama, and the end.
Oh, okay.
Is that during that festival where the parents are there, or is that just like during a normal PE class?
Both.
Okay.
So we practice like 100-meter dash and hurdles and things at normal like PE class, and then we do it in the sports festival. It used to be something like each team. We have like 2 students from each team and whoever can run fast will get the points and things. We stopped that recently because I don't know why. I don't even know why, but all students has to be equal. So we don't put any scores on individual instead of the team.
So it's, again, more, we're talking about it so many times, group harmony. That's like the big word here, right? So fostering group harmony. And I think that's what a lot of those festivals show is a lot of exercises are more group focused or pretty much 100% group focused. So it has the build teamwork, group spirit, all of these kind of things.
That's right.
Morale,
Okay.
yeah.
So you do have the same events as the Western world, but just not here and now and not competitively. What we are doing competitively is a whole lot of wacky, only in Japan events.
Yes, we have some marching in at the ceremony. We have cheering contestants that have nothing to do with the cheerleaders that you guys know.
It's not cheerleading, it's cheering.
Cheering.
Something else.
Cavalry battles.
Cavalry battle?
In other team sports that are unique to Japan.
Yeah. So
There.
let's get into it. Number one, we all know this one. This is a familiar one. Tug of war.
Yes, tug of
good.
war. It's like, it's like just a traditional one that's been existing since the ages.
We all know what that one is. Did you tug of war at school? I did.
Well, I was I'm not sure if we did that in Germany, but I was part of a school festival when I came as an exchange student in Japan. And it was first the classes against each other, and then the winning team was allowed to do tug of war against the teachers.
Oh, that's good.
So that was fun.
Oh, good.
Seeing everyone fall on their peach. So.
Excellent. Now here we go. Number two, cavalry battle. This is something.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. You have 3 kids and there's 2 on the bottom who are kind of, they pick up the other one. So the idea is it's like he's riding a horse. Yeah. The kid at the top.
So the person on the top, I think their feet are like where the hands are of the other 2, where like you interlink your hands with the other person.
I see.
And then the one in the middle, the one who's riding the horse, is standing on their hands and supporting them himself that way. So you are a rider and a horse, a 3-team exercise.
I don't know how they steer or decide where they're going to go, but then a team of them over here and a team of them over here all run at each other. And what's the objective? You have to steal the headband from the other kids.
So if you have like a white headband, I have a red headband, and we both have horses. Yeah. So we would brawl, and I would try to get your headband and take it off.
Right.
Or you go with the wrestling method, and you wrestle me and my horse to the ground. Once the horse breaks, then you won to.
Oh, is that right?
So either skilled tactics of taking off the headband or brutal force.
We just watched a video of it, and it looks like a rugby scrum. It's all these kids that go pile on, and the 2 who are up the top are just wrestling, and it looks like they're trying to pull each other off their teammates.
I think that depends on the rules of the school. I'm sure that in the school where I went to, you are not allowed to wrestle the horse to the ground in order to get that, because that's probably when the worst injuries happen. You had to go and try grab that headpiece.
Every single one of these events looks so dangerous.
It looks painful.
The number, it's kind of cool. Like, if I'd been in high school, I would have been like, oh yeah, but
all the overprotective parents would not have any of these.
Yeah, but all the non-overprotective parents would be like, get in there, son. It looks like awesome fun. I got to tell you,
it does
awesome.
Look like fun. But it does look like pain at the same time.
Injury intensive. I reckon kids come out with broken bones and no teeth, and so you can look up a cavalry battle from Japanese Sports Festival online. It's bananas.
I've seen those actually, or I've been part of one in summer with my school friends in water. That's a lot safer, because if you fall, you just fall into the water. But doing it IRL on like a dusty ground in the school, I was just watching that time. I was like, it looks dangerous.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks like looks similar to rugby, giant piles on of dudes. Number 2, we move on to cheering.
The cheering
squad. Is something else.
So you might instantly go, ooh, cheerleader, cute little cheerleading outfits going, hey, oh, Mickey, you're so fine. No, none of that. Japanese cheering
is not fine at all.
Japanese cheering seems to be a bit more of a male tradition.
Yeah.
Even though girls do it too, but usually they wear this long coat robe that has like kanji written on it, and then they have gloves on.
White gloves. They all wear white gloves. They look like mimes.
Black large coat. Think a little bit of the Matrix, and then white gloves, and then they shout really loud.
Yeah. And it's all synchronized movements with a giant group of people. It's like 40 people or something, all synchronized. Yep. So the ones we just watched, the videos we just watched, one of them, everyone's standing up, and it's all incredibly intricate hand movements.
Lots of clapping and rhythm.
All in a line. So you see it from the front, and it looks like a giant octopus or spider kind of movement.
Yeah, with lots of hands, spirit hands everywhere.
And then the other one we watched, everyone's sitting down in stands, and it's all this clapping on your lap and clapping your hands.
That's why you start 2 months in advance to get everyone to in sync for that. The entire team of wearing red was, or I don't know, with red or white was like completely in sync.
It's very precise. and it would require a lot of rehearsal. And if one person just makes a small error, the whole thing's going to be out of whack. It's kind of similar to, have you seen the Japanese marching competitions?
Yeah, I think there might be some similarities there.
Yeah. Just if one person is a slight bit out, the whole thing is going to go balls
it's
up.
not the same. So I think that the thought again is building teamwork.
The whole thing's going to go knees up. Sorry.
Yeah, like it's a lot of like being, again, teamwork, practicing, making. I think there's a lot of pressure. Don't let your team down. That is there as well, right? You need to be in sync for that. But usually the ones who wear that suit outfit, not everyone wears that suit outfit because I assume they're also kind of pricey. But if you have a good cheering squad, it is dudes. There's no flipping around and like flying into the air generally, but a lot of like claps or maybe drums and like lots of shouting, loud shouting. The louder, the better.
Yeah, lots of loud. It seems like Japanese people love a good shout in the appropriate situation.
Support, yeah.
It seems like in most of your daily activities, you're sitting down and do as you're told activities. There will definitely not be any shouting.
Be quiet.
But then once you get to your standing up outside, running around activities, you have to be shouting the entire time. This is my observation of Japan, especially looking at videos of these sports and whatnot. And actually, I got to tell you, well, we'll get to the end and I'll tell you my insight from learning about all this.
All right.
So cheering, you can go and look up Japanese cheering. It's insane. Lots of clapping and shouting,
usually
synchronized.
to support your team, the team red, team white, team yellow, team blue. Each of them gets a lot of cheering.
Really remarkable.
And then there's another one that's even more violent than the ones before. That one is very, very, very violent. That's bo taoshi. It's pretty much like
pull down the pole.
Yeah, pull down the pole.
Yeah, topple the pole kind of thing. This sport.
To explain it.
So you have teams of like 100 or so guys, yeah?
Well, it doesn't have to be that many, depending on how big your school is.
It seems like the
teams
teams
like
are
50
huge.
or something, I think.
And then it's like, okay, so each one of them in either side of the field will have a group of dudes all clumped together and then a pole that goes up. It's like a 4-meter long pole. And then there's a fellow sitting at the top of this pole.
He protects the pole.
He's the pole protector.
And then there's three other pole protectors who step on the shoulders of their teammates to be the middle way protectors.
They're halfway up. And then what happens is, the other team, an army of dudes, whilst shouting, runs at this collection of pole bearers, and they all have to. The objective is you have to topple the pole, so you have to get hold of it and pull it to the ground. So
just one thing in the imagery this time, the other team is not carrying a pole. So there's two poles. The poles don't move. They don't move. There is an attacker team and a pole protector
and a defending team. That's
and
right.
Whoever is faster pulling down the other team's pole wins.
So it's like, the two attacking teams, because you're playing two teams, both of you start in the middle and there's the pole team on either side of the field. And so, these guys run off to that pole and these guys run off to that pole. And it's whoever can topple the pole fastest. So the attacking team, they'll all get around the pole and then they'll a bunch of them will crouch over and become steps that the other guys jump off and like step up to get up on top of the defending guys, try to get the pole, get the guy off the pole and pull it to the ground. And meanwhile, the defenders are trying to keep these guys away. So this looks like a giant rugby scrum with a man on a pole sticking out of it.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like, have you ever seen like one ant colony being like colonized by a bigger ant colony stepping on them? That's kind of what it looked like. It was like the base layer of colors just disappeared because everyone just stepped on top of them to then reach up, grab that pole and throw it to the ground. Violent. Every one of the participants was wearing headgear for a clear reason because people just step on you. You couldn't see the color of the attacked team for a moment.
Getting your head stepped on. It looks awesome. I won't lie. It looks awesome. It reminded me of, like in The Matrix when all those like octopus robot things were all going zhung, 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 and swarming around and attacking. It looks like that. It's these dudes going and jumping up off other guys. It's one after another. There's a constant flow of dudes jumping into the air and these other guys sitting there trying to push them away. It looks awesome. Again, the infirmary would be a very popular place by the time you finish the event.
Probably after that. I mean, it's said that fighting together fosters a sense of responsibility, dedication, and unity.
Well, fair enough.
And pain, apparently.
It would definitely be very good team building. And I tell you what, Again, lots of yelling. You see these videos and all the guys, before they go, it's
Well, you're intimidating your opponents already. They're like, oh no, they're coming at us. Oh no.
The Japanese love a good yell. When it's time for a yell, they don't hold back. It's a proper yellathon.
Apparently, so that's more generally boys are doing that sport, at least in the video that we've seen. There's also something else that boys and girls do, maybe more the girls do, the grabbing tires.
The great tire grab.
Tires are on the ground, and depending on the school, the rules are different, but you're supposed to grab a tire and pull it to your side. So you have more tires on your side. However, the opposing team will try and grab the same tires and pull it to their side. Depending on the school rules, once the tire is on the other side, you can't grab it. Some schools, you can still grab it.
So again, there'll be the small tires get taken care of easily.
No,
and by the way, once the tire's been taken, you can sneak over and steal it if you want, if they don't defend it.
Depending on the school.
But then there'll be the tires that are left that everyone's fighting over.
Big tires, the truck tires.
All these chicks will pile on and they're just
give me that tire.
Tires away from these other females. It's remarkable to watch. You're like, whoa. So apparently this also leads to a lot of injury. Girls scratching your thigh. Do you ever go for the hair pull, Shoey? You ever got a bit of a hair just...
Ow.
You ever do some of that?
In my school, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. In the school where I went to, they called it American football. Okay. So they had a lot of American footballs lined up right in the middle. There was just this line of footballs, tons of footballs. And then at the start of the get-go, both teams run towards those footballs and try and throw them into the other side or grab them and carry them over. So many injuries, so many footballs to the face. It was, the infirmary afterwards had like a long line of people in pain.
I can imagine lots of balls to the face. It'd be awful. And let me tell you something. When you get to contact sports like this, it's watching girls do it is always so much more entertaining than watching men do it. The girls are always so much more aggressive. When I used to go to taekwondo competitions, the men would be fighting and it'd be technical and everyone would be picking their shots and everything. And it'd be a game going back and forward. The girls would just, they just go in there and just go each other. It was amazing.
Ouch.
I love watching females in combat sports. It's the best thing ever. So moving on, then we have the scavenger hunt.
All right. Next one. Scavenger hunt is actually one of my favorites. That's usually towards the end, I think, because it's like a bit of fun in there. You don't have to be specifically fast for it. Ideally, you need to be fast for it. A lot of it also is based on luck. You get cards with a challenge on it and you have to bring things. It's a live scavenger hunt. You have to bring them to the judge and then show,
To the judge. When we were talking about it before, when it said bring XYZ, I was like, bring where? Do what? So there's a judge.
There's a judge, like a teacher or something. You get a card and the card will, for example, say, bring someone with a light hair color. And then you have to go find someone in the audience, someone's parents, someone's sister, and go and bring them as quickly as possible to the judge to say, yep, I got whatever I was supposed to bring. It can be random items. It can be like a deodorant in a certain color. It can be a certain teacher. Maybe the principal has to be brought. Or if they say something really difficult, like a Ferrari, you have to be creative. So like maybe, find if one of the boys is playing with a toy car, or maybe draw a Ferrari, or maybe get a couple of people to pretend they are a Ferrari. That's when you have to get creative.
But hang on. All these objects that are written on the cards, do they know in advance that they're definitely there? Or it's just a bunch of random things figure it out, kids?
Absolute surprise. So that's why it's also based on luck and not just speed, because you might get a really difficult item.
Bring Bob Sap. Well,
then you have to bring someone who looks the most muscular during that festival.
That's brilliant.
That is like the
what a great time. I tell you, I want to go to one of these sports carnivals. It sounds wicked.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I think there's also some traditional ones. At least the school I went to, they also had a soccer match.
Okay.
A soccer match. All the classes had a soccer match. And then at the end, the winning team was allowed to play against the teachers who then got to play. There's a lot of community and community building in it, good connections with the teachers, with the parents, with the group. So there's a lot of character building in those sport events.
Was it a normal normal match of soccer or was it a violent match of soccer?
It was a normal match of soccer. The only thing that the exchange students were a little bit upset about, the final two teams, they kept playing against each other and it was always an even, but they ran out of time because the school festival has a settled time and it was still constantly even. So in the end, those two teams had to find a peaceful way to quickly win and they played rock, scissors, paper to win.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
They didn't play sudden death. Don't you normally play sudden death?
They played rock, scissors, paper instead. And that's why some of the, especially the other German exchange students were quite upset. They're like, no, it is football. It is soccer. You need to finish it on the field. But they couldn't find a definitive one. They changed it quickly. And then the winning team was allowed to play against the teachers. That's a lot of fun. Sport festivals are a lot of fun.
It sounds rad. I want to get involved with one of these sports festivals.
I don't think we're allowed in unless we have some luck. But sometimes, if you're lucky, sometimes prefectures will have their prefectorial sport festivals.
Oh, really?
I think I've seen something like that before. It was like, oh, yeah, you can go to this prefectorial sport festival. But they're a little bit different, right? But they're probably not as violent.
Yeah, we have like a prefecture or city or town, like small town sports festival where like people who live in that district can attend.
Hang on. So you do these sports, the pole and all of this?
Probably not the violent ones.
Yeah, we don't do that
people.
like a team competition a lot. It's going to be individual.
Oh, man. I am hanging to play this pole game. I'd come out with a myriad of injuries, but it looks so much fun. All the cavalry looks so much fun. That pole thing, you'd have to, as Shoey was saying before, it's like a military operation. So you have to choose, who are going to be the fast guys who go on a light and can do the jumping, who are the heavy guys
your
who need
strategy.
to base. Yeah. So of course you'd need a team and you need to know each other. You need to train for it, but it looks like the funnest thing ever. It looks so good.
For sure. Which of the sport activities that we told you about today is one that you would like to join? Let us know in the YouTube comments. We are very curious to find out.
Hey, you know what? Japan has that festival. I can't remember where it is, somewhere up north, when everyone has the sticks and the guys will go and charge each other with the sticks. You know that festival? Paul Hollywood did it when he was here. And on the same episode I was on, everyone's got these giant bamboo sticks and everyone runs into the middle and basically stabs each other with sticks. Wow. It's a festival up in one of the towns up north. They do it in the winter, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think you are talking about Tatakibo Matsuri.
That sounds correct.
Okay, it's in Shizuoka.
Shizuoka.
Yes.
Okay. And now, to me, just as an observer, that quite resembles a lot of these activities that we're playing in Sports Carnival.
Oh.
Giant groups of men screaming and risking life, together.
So there's a lot of dangerous festivals in Japan that might even be slightly connected while their sport festivals are also very dangerous.
And let me tell you an insight that I've had whilst doing this episode and learning about all this. So going through this and watching videos of high school kids doing this and whatnot has helped me understand Japanese pro wrestling much better.
Why?
You grow up in Japan doing all these things, these school team activities and whatnot. And the way that I see them behaving in these activities is the same way I see them behaving in the ring. And it's always the stuff which I couldn't get my head around. And it just comes down to culture and upbringing, right? Because they do these sports in Japan where you have these teams, it's this team environment. And like I say, everyone's yelling the whole time. When I started wrestling in Japan, I go into the ring and there's a whole lot of this. And I was like, oh, all right. The match just started. Are we there already? As the girls will always scream as they run in Japanese wrestling. The girls run a lot generally. So they'll be, bang, hit the rope, bang, hit the rope. They're yelling the whole time. And so, obviously there's plenty of vocality in pro wrestling anywhere, but going through this and kind of watching videos of it and absorbing it and observing it, I kind of go, right. So I guess it's in your culture from an early age, you're getting raised with this, follow every rule, don't stand out, group harmony, do as you're told. But now when it's run around and make noise time, you're going to make so much noise, but it's still this big team effort. We're still following the rules. We're still working together. But then as an individual, you have to express so much while still maintaining this rule set. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's, this kind of thing. And I get, this is what culture is, isn't it? You just grow up with it and you don't think about your own culture. That's just what people do. And it's only when you're a foreigner that you observe someone else's culture and you go, well, this makes me realize what my culture is much more. But seeing all this, sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant. Seeing all this, it makes me understand most things that happen in Japan. It gives me a context for understanding Japanese wrestling, for understanding the idols and the otakus, for understanding Japanese metal and the bands and whatnot, even up to Japanese drama and Japanese movies and the way people express themselves, as in characters express themselves on screen. You know, in Japanese movies and drama, there's always some kind of like, there's always some kind of climactic moment when it evolves like type scream.
Would you let me say something for a moment? This has been going on a long tangent.
That was a big old rant. That's my observation, and I'm kind of, you're feeling it, coming up with it on the fly. Please speak.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the cheering squad, that explains a lot. Well, a lot of the otakus are shouting back at the idols. They have then their chants. They chant back at the idols. That might be connected to cheering squads in Japan and the vocality of it. Maybe that's connected. I'm not sure if it is, but I can see the connections that you're drawing. So that might be one thing that is connected. Also, to be honest, if I am a viewer of wrestling match, I prefer it if they go, if they're super quiet, be a bit silent in the ring. So I prefer that there's a little bit of and a bit of vocality. And
of course.
And also, I think it's also always a good way to intimidate the other team. You're running at them going, you already go
I was watching these videos yesterday of the Japanese army training. And when they're doing their training, the whole time they're yelling, they're doing their sprints and whatnot. They go on sprinting. And they sprint. So I don't know, I've not been in the army, but I imagine we don't necessarily do that in Australia unless it's a specific time. So, Japanese sport, violence and shouting.
Now you learned something new. If you have any of the sports activities that you found particularly interesting, one that you would like to join or never like to join, please let us know in the comments. And there's more on the Cat with Beard podcast. We have over 100 episodes now, so be sure to go back and find out more about Japanese culture, because the stuff we're learning as we're going along, you can take advantage of before you even come to Japan.
Yeah, and tell you what, I advise you to go and observe this kind of thing before you come to Japan, because whatever you're going to do here, if you kind of observe a lot of this and kind of feel it via osmosis, then that will make your kind of cultural transition far smoother, because I guess you have already observed the way these people grow up and what they're used to in terms of both individual and group activities.
Or listen to more Cat with Beard podcast to find out about the stuff that we're already summarizing all the way for you now.
We've got so many episodes. There's something for everyone. Grandma is involved. Nephew Stephen is involved. The old man who lives 3 doors down who always wears a hat. We've got something for him. So tune in for more Cat with Beard.
All right. And I'll see you soon on another episode of Cat with Beard.
Goodbye. Enjoy pole toppling.